way too deep. Make up your mind. Are you plugged or not? Oh, this wind is just great. Well, good morning, everyone. I think today's the day. We are gonna get started planting corn. First thing I gotta do, I gotta get some spraying done because the wind is supposed to pick up. We're supposed to get like 30-35 mile per hour winds this afternoon, and that's no good for spraying. So we got a couple farms we want to get sprayed this morning before the wind picks up, and then we're gonna park the sprayer, go out to Grandpa's, see if we can get a planter going. I'm not sure if we're gonna start on corn or beans. We got both crops going at that farm. Both planters are ready, so we'll see what we got going. I think I'm going to start on beans. Dad's picking up some seed beans for me, and we should be ready to go. First day of planting. I'm really excited. We've waited. It's still a little bit chilly. It's 33 degrees this morning, but it's supposed to warm up to mid 70s and then be in the 80s tomorrow, and then pretty decent the rest of the week. So we think it's warm enough. Ground's fit. It's time to go. Everybody around us is rolling, so it's time to plant. So I still haven't actually stuck a thermometer in the ground to see what our ground temperature is. We're gonna do that today. For corn, you want it to be 50 degrees or better, and soybeans, they're a little bit more forgiving, so we still like to see it 50 for them just to be safe. But we're gonna stick this thing in the ground. This is my Uncle Kenny's farm. I'm spraying for my other uncle who has a farm right over there, so we're gonna see what his ground temperature is. Well, it's just under 50, like 48 degrees. I think that's pretty good. You're supposed to check it at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's already about 8 o'clock, but I didn't get out to the field in time, so I think we're good to go. We are real close to 50. By tomorrow, we'll be well over 50. It's time to plant. We got to get going. Pulling into FS here, got to get another load of chemical. Dad helped me get things moved around, so we got everything in one spot right now. It's starting to get windy. I'm gonna finish up where I'm at and then spray out what I've got left on another farm that's kind of surrounded by trees, so the wind shouldn't be too bad there. We'll see how it goes. I might get enough to just finish that way it's done. We'll see what the wind's like over there, but we're rolling. First day of spring planting season. It's going good. We got our last little bit of chemical spray out here. I probably won't have enough to finish this, but I need to move on to doing something else like planting. It's getting a little windy. It's not too bad over here. As you can see, there's a tree line over there, and that's the way the wind's coming from. So I kind of planned to end up here. That way the wind isn't too bad. So those are just kind of things you got to think about when you're spraying. It might be too windy to spray, but if you can work a nice tree line into there, you might be able to get another farm. So we're gonna knock this out real quick, and let's see. probably leave the sprayer in the field, take my truck over to Grandpa's and see if we can get that air seeder going and plant some soybeans. Dad was working on getting the planter ready. He picked up some starter fertilizer and he got our little bit of sweet corn. We always like to put a few rows of sweet corn in a couple different places. So he wanted to start with that. We also have an issue with our field cultivator. We unfolded it for the first time and the frame broke. So we got a guy coming out to weld that back together and kind of beef it up a little bit. Last I checked, he wasn't here yet, so maybe they'll be out there by the time I get out there. And hopefully he can get that fixed because it was kind of a pretty big break. I'll show you when we get out there, but that wasn't expected. Farming. Well, here we are back at the farm. Looks like Dad's about to load up the seed tender. I think our plan is, since we don't have a scale on the air seeder, and normally we would use that bean wagon, and obviously it doesn't have a scale, we're gonna put a box of beans on the seed tender, which we would normally just use for corn, weigh out a little bit, plan it out, probably like 200 or 400 pounds in there, plan it out and check our population because we have no idea how that monitor is going to read, and like I said, we don't have a scale to check it against. So we're just going to put a little bit in, see how it goes, and make sure we get our rate right. If you watched my last video, you'll know we put a lot of work into this corn planter, getting it ready. It was about, it was overdue for some new parts. We just got this planter last year and we figured we would run it and make sure it was gonna work and make sure we liked it. We do like it, we just need to put some new parts on it. So we've actually got some parts coming to demo, which I'm pretty excited about. Stay tuned for future videos. They should be showing up here pretty quick. Nothing major, but it's always fun to try something new, especially at no cost. So we also put a lot of work into the air seeder, closing wheels, openers, and seed tabs. So it should be ready to roll. It's greased, tires are checked, transmission set. We're ready to rock and roll. Well, we had a little bit of an issue. We forgot that we had to change our depth to get the openers off, and we went to reset our depth, so we have a starting point, and two of them were froze up. We couldn't get them to move, so we had to tear one apart. Still didn't really fix it. We don't really have time to deal with it right now, so we moved it around with pipe wrenches and got it kind of close to where it needs to be, and I think we're gonna start. So we're gonna get some seed in this thing and see what we got. It never fails. You can be as ready as you want. You can prepare for the whole year beforehand, and there'll always be something that gets you. And I forgot the iPad, so I won't be able to run Climate. I could run home and get it, but it's not that big a deal. We're just gonna do a 30-acre field here, and if everything's working, maybe I'll see if Dad can run home. The guy's still not here to weld on the field cultivator. I forgot to show you guys that. I'll do that before the end of the video, but I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Thankfully, we have some strip till ground that we can start on in case it takes a while to get that thing fixed. Backed up a little too close, got to pull ahead. Wind is just ridiculous. Still too far back. Alright, so we put 400 pounds in, and I need to figure out where I need to run my air pressure for the blower. So we go to our soybean chart, transmission is set, single rank manifold pressure, 23 inches water column. So there's a gauge on there. Let's like put this back. Now we kick our fan in. So it's started up. And it looks like it's at 10 right now. So change our pressure. That looks pretty good, just a hair over 20. Now I gotta set up my field. We got Todd Arsena, farm, Bob's house, field, north. Set. All right, let's go see what we've got. Never fails. I got grease all over me. I have to clean that before I get it all over this nice clean cab. I can't be trusted. Oh, nice. Just ripped my shirt. Unbelievable. Well, it's been good, blue flannel. Had a long run. We're gonna get back in the corner here and get going. Change it to radar speed. Let's see what we got now. Well, I have no population reading whatsoever. I guess I'll get out and dig and see if we're planting. It's not reading anything on the monitor. No population or nothing. Into the ground, we're just not getting any reading on our monitor. So I'm gonna do the old spin the wheel test, see if we got seed coming out, just to double check. We got seeds coming out. I'll catch up with you guys later. What did I do with my sunglasses? Oh, there they are. Alright, so we are folded up, going home with our tail between our legs. We can't get this thing to work. I was on the phone with tech support, we can't figure it out. It's planting, but we're not pulling in ground speed. So what it needs is, this thing has blockage monitors and population monitors. So the population won't read unless it has a ground speed as a reference. So, you know, it's going to count seeds as they're thrown, but it kind of divides that by how fast you're going to tell you your population. But if it doesn't know how fast you're going, it won't tell you your population. So I've got it folded up. I'm going to head back to the shop, and we've got a tech coming out tomorrow to look at it because we can't figure it out. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad for you. I'm on my phone. I forgot to show you guys. So this is the frame that broke on the field cultivator. Right here, where the bolt goes through. So yeah, Dad was unfolding it the other day, and there's that bar right there that goes down. There's a bolt in the end of it. It broke, and when all the weight shifted over, it busted that, what I just showed you. And I'm assuming that was probably had a hairline crack in it for a while, and it just went, and we're still waiting on the guy to come out and fix it. So not sure where he's at. Well, hello there. Welcome back to West Farms, the farm where we try really hard to farm but never actually get the chance to. So we're really struggling with this air seeder. I don't know if I actually explained what was going on, but we put our Ag Express ISO harness in this tractor. We're trying to get a speed input to the air seeder and it's just not working. So I got this, I borrowed it from FS. This is what you call a SkyTrack, and it is a GPS receiver on a magnet. That's what the white part is, and it should plug into my radar source on the harness. So if that doesn't do it, I might just say forget this tractor and unhook it and go put it back on the 9R, because it's gonna rain tomorrow and we really need to plant some beans. Dad's out in the corn planter. He got that rocking this morning. We're at least getting something done. Let's throw this on here. I've been spraying all morning. It's a little after noon. We had to spray before the wind picks up, so a little late getting started to this, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So we're gonna throw that on, see what we got. So Deere sent us this cable. Well, I guess they didn't send it to us. We picked it up, but it tees into our GPS receiver. They thought that was gonna be able to pull GPS speed into our radar input, but it's just not working. This is a John Deere harness, and we have an Ag Express harness, so we're thinking something's not compatible. They didn't suggest trying this, but it's worth a shot. So we're gonna stick this thing up here. I think I'll just magnet it right there for now. Run this in the back window, and we should be good. Threw that in the back window. Let's see, where am I at here? Need to unplug this and plug this into it, like so. Now I'm done with this harness. I think I can finally actually return this one. We thought we needed it, then we didn't think we needed it, then we thought we needed it. Now it doesn't work. I think I can finally return it. That's plugged in. Crossing my fingers, starting the tractor. Here's hoping. All right, I'm gonna back up here and see if we've got, it should say some kind of speed on one of those. I am inside a shed, and I'm guessing that SkyTrack is like our GPS receivers, and they won't work when you're inside a building. So I'm gonna back this out, let it sit outside for a little bit and acquire all the satellites, and then we'll see what we got. Is everything working all right?
Seems to be.
That's good. Strips look like they're working all right.
Yeah, I think if we're going to use that bar again, I don't know. If we're going to do that kind of stuff, we need our own bar.
Well, we're in the field. We're putting beans in the ground. I think the monitor is reading population. It's showing 200 and no, number one is plugged. Now it's not plugged. Okay. Make up your mind. Are you plugged or not? Well, I need to get out and check depth anyways. So, what I've got going on is it's reading population, but it's reading 270,000 seeds per acre. We're shooting for 150, so I don't know if that's legit or if it's just reading wrong. So my speed source must be in here. I'm gonna go out and dig, see what we got. Oh, there's an earthworm. That's a good sign. Cover crops, yeah. There's another one. Okay. We got beans going in the ground. Finally. This thing's acting like it's doing what it's supposed to. It's not plugged. I wonder if it ran out because we don't have a whole lot of seed in here. Okay, so here's where we're at. We just put 625 pounds of seed in. We're gonna do another check to see where our population's reading on the monitor. We put 400 pounds in the other day and it didn't do nearly as many acres that it should have, and it ran out. So it was planted way too thick. The reason for that is I was reading in the manual here on our rate charts, I was reading it in population. We were shooting for 150, so I thought the 150 on the line meant 150,000, but that actually meant pounds per acre. So I kind of feel like an idiot right now. So now that I'm on the right track, we set it according to the chart. We got our 625 pounds in. That should plant roughly 13.5 acres. We're gonna run it out, see what we got. My next problem is, do you hear that? So a mouse got in here over the winter and must have built a nest in my blower fan. And now there's something rubbing on it, so I get to listen to that the rest of the day. Now it's reading the right population. It's reading 152,000. We're shooting for 150. I'm just gonna leave it where it's at, do the math when I get empty, see what we got. I kind of feel stupid. We never really used drills when I was farming, so I'm not used to reading things in pounds per acre. I'm used to reading population. So like 32,000 for corn, 150,000 for beans. That's what I'm used to. So it was an honest mistake. It happens. So we'll have a couple passes in this field where the beans are like really thick. But oh well, what do you do? Well, we're going good so far. Still working on our test run. I think I got a dirty seed sensor because number 7 keeps beeping at me, and I went back there and checked it and it's clear. So every once in a while it'll beep at me. I don't have a seed toothbrush with me, of course. Dad's got one in the corn planter. I'll probably steal that after a while and clean it, see if that solves the problem. But going good so far, putting seed in the ground. So we're tearing this blower motor apart in the field, and we found the mouse nest in the blower motor, but we can't get it to pop out of there. There it is. There's our problem. Alright, we're gonna test it before we get it back together. Yep, it's working. We're good. Back in business. It's not shooting mouse nests at me anymore, so that's good. I better start my fan. Otherwise we won't be planting any seed. And we're good. Let's go. And we're off. Oh, this wind is just great. Oh my gosh. Well, we're at 11 acres and the tank is just about empty, so I'm gonna call that good enough. We're gonna go back to the seed tender and fill this sucker up, plant some beans, finally get something done. We are planting into some cover crop rye, cereal rye that we sprayed off with Roundup, so it's already dead. You can see it out there. I wanted to plant green into it, but it just got late enough and it got warm enough early that the rye was growing like crazy, so we had to get it sprayed while it was still controllable. But digging down when I was checking seed depth, it is amazing how much moisture is out here because we have been dry. We haven't really had a substantial rain in a while. We got like 3/10 last week. That was our last decent rain, so these cover crops and no-till really holds the moisture when you need it, but I think it also helps with filtration when you get too much rain. So that's one of the advantages. This is a pretty light farm, pretty sandy, and I think it's the way to go for beans for sure. Even Dad's planting strip till right next to me over there, and the ground's a lot drier in those strips just because there's no cover on it, but it still works pretty good. So things are just going real smooth. Knock on wood. Well, we got that field done. we're gonna move on down to the next field, just half a mile down the road. So here we go. So that last field, I planted the opposite direction, opposite angle of what we planted the rye. We kind of wanted to plant the rye in between the rye row, or I'm sorry, what am I saying? We wanted to plant the beans right in between the rye rows. That way that dead row of rye would kind of hold the weeds back in between the row of beans. And we didn't plant the rye with RTK, so the rows aren't very straight, but I tried it over here. I'm going the same direction as the rye in this field, and it's working okay. It seems like every other pass is on top of the rye and then in between the rye, so I got to shift over a little bit, and it's working pretty good. So we're going to see. We'll have a nice comparison. There's 33 acres in this field, 33 acres in that field. It's a little bit better ground down here, but we can just kind of see how the beans do and how they grow with this direction versus that direction. So, still going good. I can't believe it. Just gonna hop out here and check things out. I see an issue with one of my air hoses. Now I can't remember which one it was. One of them was getting caught under the spring, and I think it's that one. Just gonna tie it up. I don't know, maybe that'll help. Everything looks to be working pretty well. I'm gonna check my depth again, just to be sure. This ground is a little bit heavier down here, so might take a little bit more to get it in the ground. And the wind's still blowing. Great. It's never gonna stop. Look at that. It's already swelled up. After I figured out how to read the graph, and it still seems like it's plant heavy, so I was thinking about starting another field yet tonight, but with not knowing where we're at and kind of running short on this variety of seed, this is actually seed beans, so we can't mix the varieties. It's got to be pure, and they don't know if they have enough seed to give us more if we run out. So I'm going to call it quits for tonight. We'll see what this rain does, and probably be rained out tomorrow and for the next couple days, which is fine because we really need the rain. But I was kind of hoping to get a little bit more planted than we did. So got 90 acres of corn in, well, not quite 90, and 65 acres of beans. So not too bad for me getting started at like 1 o'clock. Well, that's it for this video. I got my wife's car. She needed my truck today, so pretty nice ride. Anyways, pretty frustrating when you have so many troubles and you just can't get started. Thankfully, we got things figured out and we were able to get some beans in the ground. Corn went pretty good. He said he just had some depth adjustment issues, but that farm's very variable. It's got some heavy ground and some light sand, so you just kind of got to set it for the best ground, and then it kind of does whatever on the rest of the ground. So having issues is just part of farming. We actually heard of a neighboring farmer who had just got a new planter and he's been trying to plant corn for 5 days, he only got 15 acres planted. So we're not the only ones, and thankfully we did a little bit better than he did. Wish him luck. Hope he gets his issues figured out. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching. A lot of spring planting content coming, and we'll see you on the next one.